Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Down in the Country podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Reed, and today we are joined by another up and coming country music artist, Enzo Fiore. Thank you so much for your time today, Enzo.
Of course. Thanks for having me, man.
It's great for you to be here. And you describe yourself as someone who's known for his soulful vocals and heartfelt storytelling. So, how have you been able to successfully combine both of those to capture the hearts of audiences with your traditional country charm and contemporary flair?
Yeah, so definitely I think growing up I had like a lot of different musical influences, a lot of country artists, but also a lot of R&B artists and hip hop artists and a lot of genres kind of mixed together. So I think that kind of is what gives me my different kind of vocals in country. I don't have that, classic country twang and stuff because I'm not from the South, but I feel like I'm able to incorporate elements from all different genres into my music. So I think that creates for a cool outcome. So I think that's definitely kind of what's got me to where I am today and where my music is today.
And it seems like that's kind of like the general trend now in country music, kind of going towards that R&B kind of hip hop and combining combining them. Is that
Right.
kind of what you're seeing too as well, kind of as an up and coming artist in Nashville?
Yeah, definitely. You're definitely seeing a lot more crossover in country these days. I think, especially with some new artists that have been coming out recently, there's a lot of yeah, kind of mixing of genres. Like you'll have like a classic country guitar with like hip hop drums, and I think it's just becoming a little bit more mainstream country that people who aren't necessarily country fans can enjoy. So yeah, I think it's definitely trending in that direction for sure.
Awesome. No, that's amazing to me just kind of growing up. So I was born in 95, and so being from
Yeah.
Texas, we were exposed to, like George Strait, Leanne Womack, Mickey Gilley, a little bit of Buddy Jewel too as well. And growing up, that's what I thought country music was. And so like, of course kind of you think country music what you're grown up with, what you listen to, kind of where you're from, but it's really cool to see how the shift, even within, I'm don't want to age myself, but I'm almost hitting that 30-year mark. But but how much
Yeah.
it's changed really within that time frame.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I mean, yeah, because I remember growing up and I was listening to country. My mom would always have the highway on that Sirius XM channel, which still exists to this day, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, that I remember just listening to like Toby Keith and Jason Aldean. Like, yeah, totally different country scene than what it is now. But I think it's very cool to even see the progression of it and see all these different artists with different backgrounds kind of come into the scene and kind of make what their mark on country and what they think is country. And I just think, yeah, I think it's really cool to see.
Yeah, no, same here. And I can't, I'm one of those types of people. I can't wait to see what people kind of can come up with from a talent perspective and really take the genre moving forward.
Yeah.
So to dive into your music, so two singles that I really want to highlight. So Two Bits and Every Single Bottle, written in 2024 and 2023 respectively, and they really kind of showcase your style and represent your identity as an up and coming country music artist. Could you describe, like, provide an introduction for Two Bits?
So Two Bits was one of the first country songs that I ever wrote. So that was like a really interesting one. For the people that don't know, like two bits is kind of a phrase for Auburn. So I kind of wanted to tie that in. It's like their college chant. And yeah, I mean, Two Bits was a really interesting one because it's about meeting a girl from the South and kind of just falling in love and seeing where it takes you. And that was a really fun one to do, especially because it was one of my first ever written songs, and I didn't really collaborate with anybody writing that one, so it was kind of cool to have like my own country song all put together. And I did like a really cool video for that one too, so that was really fun. But yeah, I think the instrumental to that one was very interesting and different than what I'm used to writing to. So that was just a really fun one to just get creative on. And two bits is actually, I think it's like my most streamed song. So people seem to like that one.
Yeah, only 61,487 streams to be exact. But I hate to be that guy, but I will.
Yeah.
Do you mind if we play a clip?
Yeah, let's do it.
I put back a couple cans of the PBR when we met in Alabama at the Moonlit Bar. I knew right when she showed up that she had to go downtown. So we poured up a couple doubles and then we get to talking about small towns where we grew up. And we sang country roads till we lost our voice. You sure got a thing for a small town boy. I still remember the way she sang that song. The lipstick red like a crimson tide, trying to get lost in those gunners' their lives. I'm making my way to the south where the river rolls on. Yes, I'm too big straight.
I really love. So the first thing I really want to say is I really love the video reel that you used. So it's a great visual representation to kind of what the story is about, kind of the point you're trying to get across. I do find it your lyrics and then the Auburn T-shirt, it really contrasts nicely when you say crimson lipstick.
Yeah,
I don't know if that was on purpose or
yeah, it was.
For those listeners, there's a big rivalry between Auburn and Alabama. It goes back for a long time. So but I really, on a serious note though, I really loved how you were able to kind of combine both of those two contrasting, like the Auburn T-shirt and then like the crimson lipstick, but it seemed to flow very well together in the song.
Thank you. Yeah. That one was a really fun one. That one was a really fun one to do because I really wanted to get creative with those lyrics. Because I feel like when you're talking about Auburn, you don't expect to hear about both of those two things in the same. Yeah, so I definitely wanted to include that. But yeah, that was a really fun one to write. Yeah, and the video was super fun to do too. That whole that reel on Spotify was from the music video. So that was definitely a fun one to do.
And you just mentioned kind of the writing aspect of it. So what was because when I was listening to the song, there were kind of multiple feelings that was it supposed to be sad, sentimental, was it supposed to be happy? Kind of what feeling did you want people to feel when they were listening to this particular song?
Yeah, so the feeling of this one definitely is a little bit more sentimental. I kind of had in my mind, I want people to feel like that, that summertime when they were in high school, that they, had this summer romance and fell in love. And, you might be older now, but you still think about those times every now and then. So that's kind of the feeling I was going for with this. Definitely a sentimental summer song. That was kind of what I envisioned for this.
And then, to expand upon that, like, what was the cutting process like for this song?
Yeah, so I mean, I got the beat from a producer, and I just wrote this one myself. I didn't collaborate really with anybody on the lyrics. But yeah, I wrote it, and then I was in LA at the time, so and this was actually this was the first country song that I ever did in like a studio, like a professional country song. Because my first song, Down Home, I completely mixed and produced that. So this one was fun because I found like this one like country engineer that was in LA, like the only one in LA, I swear to God. And I found him and I was like, listen, I want to cut this country song that I just wrote. So it was just a really cool process to kind of see, how a country song comes together in the studio. And yeah, I just went in the studio for I think like 3-4 hours, just cut it, mixed it, produced it, everything. So this was like a super fun one to do, especially since it was my first like kind of collaboration with like an engineer and a mixer in the studio for a country. So
And were those 3 to 4 hours? Was that all in one day, or was it different days?
I think, I think we did this one all in one day. We were just locked in. We recorded for like, I don't know, like an hour and a half. And then, just went through like the different takes and stuff. And then basically just sat down together and like, just kind of crafted the sound, that I really wanted for like the vocals and everything like that. So.
And specifically on Two Bits too as well. I mean, there's so much to unpack, with this song. What were you looking to accomplish from a musical perspective?
Yeah, I mean, what I look to accomplish from a musical perspective every time is I really want people to find something about a song that they relate with and feel those emotions. I mean, there's just like so many different songs, especially for me, that I'll like listen to and I'll like get goosebumps and it'll remind me of something that happened in my life, like a core memory in my life. And that's kind of what I want to bring to people every song that I put out. So this one, really, I just wanted people to feel that like nostalgia of like summers when they were younger and like falling in love for the first time. And that's kind of what I aim to do, in every song, because I think that, we all, live different lives, but we all, have a lot of the same experiences regardless. So I think, just connecting with people on that end of things and just making them feel emotions and reminding them of the best times of their life.
Hmm. No, definitely. And one of the things that I really learned about you is two musical influences that you have are Jason Aldean and then Darius Rucker. Darius Rucker with Hootie and the Blowfish, and then Darius Rucker as the soloist. I think there's you have to
Yeah,
differentiate between the two. But
right.
how are you able to combine those key musical influences into Two Bits?
Yeah, well, I mean, just going back to like OG Jason Aldean, like Fly Over States. I mean, that was like one of the first songs I just absolutely like fell in love with country from. And yeah, like obviously Darius Rucker back in the day, Hootie and the Blowfish, Let Her Cry, like that live recording of that song's like ridiculous. Um, I think like the main inspirations that, kind of transferred to like Two Bits and all my other music is just the thoughtful lyricism. It's not just a cookie cutter country song talking about, just like beer and trucks, and like just getting deeper with it and relating to people, and coming up with lyrics that people are going to remember and that are going to stick. I think Jason Aldean and Darius Rucker both do a really good job at that. So just aiming to try to be, a trillionth of what they are, because they're incredible. And yeah, just getting deeper with the lyrics. I think that's the biggest thing, because they both do like an insane job at that, and just trying to get cut deeper with people's emotions, when they hear the song.
Awesome. And then, to change gears a little bit, could you provide an introduction to Every Single Bottle?
Yeah, so Every Single Bottle is my latest single. It came out a few weeks ago. That one was a super fun one to do, because I just moved to Nashville like 3 months ago. So that was my first like Nashville collaborative song. I got to work with, my amazing producer Isaac, some other producers, some other writers. So that one was like really cool to just finally be able to like collaborate with other country people to create a song like that. That was just like really cool. Um, and that one, another one where I drew inspiration kind of from other genres, because my producer Isaac, he also used to do like hip hop music. So he incorporates like obviously the classic country like instruments, but then brings in like a hip hop drum line and like 808s and like hard hitting beats that you can dance to. So that was a really fun one to do, because it's kind of like a country crossover with like hip hop beats. So I really enjoyed doing that one.
Don't tell anyone I said this, but this is my favorite of yours. So,
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you like that one.
um, do you mind if we play a clip of it too as well?
For sure. Yeah.
I heard you made it down to Tupelo. Them brown lights never never seem to fit in your life. And I bet you never pictured you alone. Cause I found some better ways to spend my time. Did you start shooting whiskey right about now? Are you saying that you miss me? Your friends ask you if you're still in love. Are you gon' lie and say you've had enough? Was it Jack? Was it Crown? Was it every single bottle that you poured out? Do you call when I'm on your mind? Do you take a long way so you miss that sign? Is he everything you wanted in a man like me? Get his number on the dial, do you still hear me? Get you sitting in his truck, used to be my seat. Girl, don't lie, you spend a lot of time missing me.
So the first time I actually listened to the single, when you introduced that acoustic guitar portion, I was like, oh, it's going to be like an acoustic. It's going to be a little folksy. It's
Yeah.
going to be like traditional country. But then I loved how you kind of made that quick pivot to, you know, to spitting bars. I don't know if
Yeah.
people say that anymore, but that's what I say.
Thank you, brother. I love that. I love that. Yeah, that one was like so fun to do just because it's like it's just different. Like one of my really recent inspirations is an artist by the name of Tucker Wetmore. So I think he does like such a good job of like the crossover because he just has like such a different style. Like his voice is so country, but his beats just like have those like hard hitting like 808 like drum lines. And yeah, I love that. Like I love doing that because I love hip hop. I used to do like some hip hop music back in the day. So I mean that for me is like so fun to blend the two genres. And that one was definitely like I definitely want to do more projects like that.
Yeah, that classic like that phone call move like that makes the reel, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
So, and I loved kind of so when you were shooting this, was it a particular place? Like, was it in an art studio or because I noticed a lot of the art in the background you were while you were rapping this song.
Yeah, so this was an interesting video setting. So shout out to my videographer Michael. He's amazing. He's done a few of my videos out here in Nashville. So we were actually supposed to film this video in a bar, and we were gonna film it in this bar, and then I ended up having to head out in Nashville for like a few days. So we had to like move the film date and they weren't able, like the bar wasn't available anymore to shoot it. So then it was kind of a last minute thing. And Mike was like, oh, I know this like perfect alley by this coffee shop. I think it was in like East Nashville. And literally there's like this alley with that door at the end and there's all this like cool graffiti. And literally if you were to look behind the camera, it's like the door to a coffee shop. So it's like the most random location ever. Like if you don't know it's there, like you don't know it's there. So that was like really cool. Yeah, we were just like in the alley, just filming like that. I thought that was like a very aesthetic background with all the graffiti for sure. That was cool.
Wow. And what was specifically with this? What was the writing process like?
Yeah, so this one was definitely a little bit different because so the way it went with this is I met my producer Isaac before I actually came to Nashville. He hit me up on Instagram randomly and he's like, "Hey, I'm in Nashville. Like, I like your music. Like, we should do some collabs together." And I was like, "Oh, that's crazy. Like, I'm moving there in like 3 weeks." So it was like the craziest timing ever. So I linked up with him like as soon as I got to Nashville. And every single bottle was interesting because it's not the first song we wrote together. We actually did some like demos for some big artists. That was like kind of the first thing we did together. And then this one, he played the beat for me. And I was just like, dude, like I need to cut the song. Like this needs to like we need to like create something like so special here. Like I want to drop this. And then, we had like 3 or 4 writing sessions on lyrics and stuff. It's just one of those that just kind of like came together. Like we didn't go into it thinking like, oh, this is what we're going to write about. We just kind of sat here with the beat and just kind of like spitballed ideas. And every single bottle was born,
Ah. And, and then how was the cutting process like?
Yeah, so the cutting process, we obviously, we did like a rough demo out here in Nashville, but then I was actually in LA, so I was like, oh, let me just do this with my LA engineer. So I recorded it out in LA. But yeah, it was really interesting because, you know, we already had like this one was really cool because my engineer was able to like really mix the beat because we had like all the stems and stuff on this one. Like it's obviously a little different when you're getting sent a beat like 2 bits. You just get sent a beat sometimes and you don't have like the stems or anything from the producer, so it's like just like a crazier mixing process and stuff. But this one was cool because we could go like down to every single like instrument, and yeah, cutting it was really cool. I feel like this one was like really quick in the studio. And then yeah, mixing process was super fun on this. I you know I have a certain sound in my vocals and I kind of like to keep that sound kind of the same across all my songs. And I think it really fit well with this beat. So yeah, it was a really cool cutting process. And yeah, actually I did this one in LA, so that was kind of crazy. But yeah, full circle.
Wow, you're like a coast to coast guy.
Yeah, I do. I travel a lot.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And then, so, you know, similar to the question I asked about 2 bits, how are you able to include your musical influences of Jason Aldean and Darius Rucker in every single bottle?
Yeah, well, I think the lyrics more so. The lyrics, you know, include some classical country subjects, you know, talking about, you know, drowning your heartaches in the bottle. And yeah, I mean, I think that definitely was an influence um, on this one. I think this one was more like a little bit new age, so I think it was like a little less inspired by like the classic country and just tried to go like real creative, real new school with this one. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think those guys just inspire me in every song I do, regardless of if it's a crossover country song or if it's a more classic country song like 2 bits. Like just their lyricism and just artistry kind of like just inspires me every single song I write, regardless, you know?
Wow, that's great. Yeah, and it was amazing just kind listening to 2 bits and then every single bottle. You know, I was like, shit, is this like the same Enzo Fiore that?
Yeah, two totally different vibes, right?
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh wow, you can totally make it like 360, you know, stylistically.
Thank you.
So, you know, so the next 2 singles I really want to highlight are "Steel Mind" and "A Few States." So these are recent singles too that showcase your ability to mix kind of that traditional and the contemporary flair of country music. Could you provide, similarly to the previous 2 singles we talked about, just an introduction of "Steel Mind"?
Yeah, so Steel Mine is a story of, you know, being wherever you're at and, you know, you unexpectedly just see someone that you just can see your whole future with, but you've only been looking at them for 5 seconds, you know, and it's just it's about, you know, it's about winning the heart of a girl that you really like ultimately. And Steel Mine was a really cool song to write because I wasn't living in Nashville at the time, but I had connected with a Nashville artist on Instagram. So I ended up co-writing Steel Mine with him, and we literally, it was like the craziest process. We wrote Steel Mine on a Zoom call, like similar to this podcast. We were on a Zoom call. And I had the beat already. We changed some things, but we wrote all the lyrics and the melodies in this song and in the span of like 30 minutes. Like this was one of those that just kind of like came out and we just meshed as co-writers and we just got this one together like really quickly. But yeah, that's kind of the vibe of Steel Mine.
Wow, and wow, like 30 minutes.
Yeah, this one was like one of those that just kind of just came out, you know, it was like effortless. Like we just meshed, like we had the same vibe going and we were on the same page about like the subject and kind of he has like kind of a similar flow to me per se. Like his lyrics are a little like similar to my vibe. So I think it was just like the perfect like mesh. Shout out to David Payne, who I wrote that with. He's an incredible artist. So definitely check him out if you have a chance.
Wow. No. And is David on Spotify too as well?
Yeah, David's on Spotify. Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
I gotta check his stuff out now too.
Yeah, I'll intro you on Instagram for sure.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Do you mind if we play a clip of Steel Mind?
Let's do it.
a red sky sunset. Looks real good in July. A couple cans back of the cold bush light. Your yellow sundress fitting just right. And you came here tonight looking for someone else. But I know how this ends, girl, you ain't leaving by yourself. 'Cause if you're looking for a handle, need a shotgun seat to ride. If you're searching for somebody, let me know, 'cause girl, I know a guy. If you're looking for a drink to sip on, a t-shirt to wear to bed tonight. If you're in a bar looking for a heart, then I'm your guy. Steal mine.
So the first thing I really want to say is I really liked how, Steal Mine in the video reel on Spotify, you kind of really showcase that this was kind of like an outdoorsy type of song. Like this would be something that you would hang out with your friends at the pool or drinking beer outside or, walking around Broadway, having fun. For better or for worse.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this, I really liked how you, similarly to Two Bits and, just want to say that you have like this amazing talent of taking reels and kind of showcasing like the story behind the song. Like it's very easy for listeners to really understand not only about your songs and kind of your musical style, but kind of who you are and what you experienced.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I actually did a full music video for that song, and that was such a fun project. So shout out to my friends Mason and Jules. They're actually killing it in country right now. Like they're on all the Spotify editorials, like they're crushing it right now. And they actually directed that music video for me. So that was just like a super fun project because we got to collaborate on that. And yeah, I think that video definitely did like a good job of like capturing the real story behind it for sure. So thank you. I appreciate that.
And specifically with this song, it's yet again, it's also very, you showcased again kind of how you're able to be very versatile. So Two Bits, kind of a little bit more sentimental. Every Single Bottle, my favorite. You kind of like go hard in the paint, and then with Steal Mine, it's like, okay, let's take it to a different direction. And it's amazing how you're able to take different styles, but maintain, it seems like, a very similar subject matter in all your singles.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, I try to blend all the different vibes together, because yeah, I mean, and it's also seeing like what sticks too, because some people like that classic country like Two Bits, then some people want something like with a crazy hip hop. So I feel like that's kind of my objective here, is just to have something for everybody that everybody can, enjoy.
And how was the writing process specifically for Steal Mine?
Yeah, Steal Mine. Like I said, it was just like such a quick write with David. I think we both went into it knowing like we wanted to write a song about, meeting a girl for the first time and just like wanting to sweep her off her feet. So I think we were both definitely on the same page for that. And yeah, I mean, I had like the way it kind of went is I had like a few like lyrics kind of lined up, a few of the verse lyrics, and then David just really came in and like, helped me really like put together this chorus that people just relate to and can sing along to. So I think we did a really good job of like meshing that together and just kind of trying to create something that's catchy and that people can remember.
And then cutting it,
Yeah,
how was that?
cutting it was really cool. I worked with I again, like when I put this one out, I wasn't in Nash yet, so I cut this with my engineer out there. And yeah, this was just like a really fun one to do, and I feel like another quick one just because like the vibes were just there. Like the vibes on the song are really cool, and I just like this is one of those songs that like when I listen to it, I definitely like vibe to. So it was just like really really quick to do in the studio, and my engineer Nick was like really into this one too. So it was just like it was just a fun process. I love just like having fun with it, like stop taking it so serious and just like go in there and have fun. Like you're not trying to create something like crazy. You're just having fun with your friends in the studio. So that's kind of the vibe that I go for every time. But yeah, this one was really fun to cut. And we got this one done pretty quickly.
Yeah. And it's also it's a scary feeling, but it's also a fun feeling. Like you don't know what people are going to like until you release it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You never know. But I just try to create a song that I would love listening to. Like if I cut a song and I do a lot of like tests with my music. So like once I cut a song, like I'll listen to it with like headphones in, and then I'll go like to the car, and then I'll just have it playing in the background while I'm like cooking dinner. I need to like vibe to the song. Like I need to be like, damn, like this is a cool song to want to release it, because if I don't like it, then I feel like people just aren't gonna vibe with it, you know. So I have to personally vibe with it before I even put it out there, you know.
Yeah. No, that's I never realized that you could, cooking dinner, going to the car, you totally have different feelings when you're listening to that same song.
Right. And and two, like another thing I do too is like having like a Jason Aldean song or like a Morgan Wallen song on, and then like putting on my song right after and seeing if it like, the quality matches up and like the vibes are there, that's like definitely important, because that's like that's what all of the people who are listening to your music are going to experience. They're not just playing your song over and over and over and like intently listening to it like us as the artists do. So you got to make sure that it's like it lines up with everything else that's out there.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And similarly, like, could you provide an introduction to a few states?
Yeah, so a few states was a real interesting one to do. So I had just met my girlfriend, and she was living in a different state, Massachusetts at the time, where I'm from. And this one was kind of crazy because it was just one of those that just came full circle. I wrote the song. We literally had just met and just started talking, and then I put the song out. And then like literally a few weeks later, like she came to LA, like we started dating. Like it was just like a crazy like full circle moment. I feel like people can really relate to it, especially if they've like been in like a long distance relationship. And yeah, this was just like a really special one to do. And the writing process was just one of those that just like flowed, because I love to write songs that, are things that are currently happening in my life. And I think that people can really relate to that. And it's cool to like look back on the song and see kind of the headspace that I was in, and it's just like a full circle moment,
Shall we?
Yes, we shall.
Yeah, he sure got some nerve the way he did you like that. A girl like you shouldn't have to go back home to that. You can sip your drink till he fades away, but I know something better than that. You could change your number and change your hair to the blonde you had back in the day. You could frame that picture of me and you find some dirt out in Tennessee. Next time you get lonely and your heart's been missing me, just pack your bags and get on moving on, and you could fly a few states to me.
I like the airplane perspective, and then you see outside and you're in the sky. That's pretty cool.
Right? Yeah, I thought that was very fitting for the song, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you did say like flying through a few states, so it kind of made logical sense.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the writing process. What was the cutting process like for this single?
The cutting process. Yeah, I mean, another super fun one to do. I mean, me and my LA engineer Nick, like we always have like such a fun time in the studio, because we're not just like going in there and like being all like business professional. Like we're like pretty tight. So I think it's like it's a great process, and it's a fun process to go in there with him, because we're both on the same vibe, and he loves like, all the beats and stuff that I come in with, and all the lyrics and stuff like that. So it's just a really fun it's a really fun process. This one I took a little more time with, just because I wanted to get it perfect, because you never know, like each song's different. Like one song might come out and like you record it in like an hour, and then you're done with like all your takes and your vocals. But sometimes I just like to pay a little more like attention, and it's just like something's not sounding like the way that I want it to be sounding. So just kind of like a perfectionist in that way. But yeah, this one was super fun to do. I think it was cool because I had like a lot of like higher vocals that I don't usually go into, so it was a little bit of a challenge for me, which was fun. And yeah, I mean, this one was super fun to cut, and I think it was one of those, like, at the end of it, Nick and I were just like, okay, this is a cool one, you know?
Hmm. And were you, and when I was listening to this, and I don't know if this was your intention, it seemed like this was kind of a hybrid between Every Single Bottle as well as Steal Mine.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a hybrid between those. I think it has those classic drums like Steel Mine, but it's a little like more just upbeat and just flowy. So I think and the delivery was like a little bit faster. Like my flow was a little faster. So yeah, I definitely think this was a hybrid between those two for sure.
Hmm. And what I do like about this, and and I've said this on multiple podcasts before, and it's still amazing to me how as a vocalist you can have like medium to heavy drums in your songs and not have those drums overpower your vocals.
Yeah, yeah, it's yeah. I mean, a lot of that's in the mixing too. So the mixing engineers. I mean, that's crucial because yeah, I mean, some of the drums are just so hard hitting. Like it's a process to have your vocals sticking out from those.
Hmm. And just out of curiosity, so I mean, we've talked about Jason Aldean and Darius Rucker as much as they're good artists. I don't want to say ad nauseum, but were there other key musical influences that you were listening to at the time, either growing up or while you were writing and cutting all of these four singles we talked about?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I have a lot of influences. I mean, Morgan Wallen's like a massive influence to me in the country. Sam Hunt. I mean, back in the day when Sam Hunt was just coming out with like the most different songs, like "Break Up in a Small Town," and like it was just so different because it was like a country artist, and here he is like talking, almost like rapping on like a song. And it was just like so interesting. And yeah, I mean, I definitely love that. I mean, obviously Toby Keith. Huge influence. I mean, there's so many, like Blake Shelton. I mean, I'm inspired kind of by everybody, and I listen to everybody. I have a very broad like music taste, so I try to listen to everybody and kind of pull inspiration from a lot of different lanes of country and lanes of music in general. But yeah, I mean, right now I'm definitely Morgan Wallen, Tucker Wetmore, Dylan Marlowe. I mean, everybody's been coming out with some like amazing stuff. So.
Yeah, no, and it's amazing because you're like, um, like, and I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but when you're either like writing down something or when you're thinking of content, you're like, oh, wow, like just off of one word or one sentence, there's like 18 different ideas now that I could totally like take from my musical influences and kind of where I really want to take
Yeah.
my career as a up and coming country music artist.
Yeah, most definitely.
Um, and so on your website, this quote actually really struck out to me in a positive manner. So, I'm going to read the full quote. So Enzo's music serves as a conduit for emotions, offering listeners an escape into the heart of country living. With each song, he weaves tales of love, loss, and life's journey, touching the hearts of fans worldwide. So, aside from wanting listeners to connect with who you are, not only as an artist, but as a person too, as well, what do you want people to understand about you and your journey in country music?
Yeah, I mean, I think I have, an interesting story in country. I haven't always been in country music. I didn't grow up in the South, but I did, I grew up in a small town on the East Coast. So I definitely grew up with that kind of, country lifestyle. I didn't grow up in a city, I didn't grow up in California. So um, I can kind of, take a lot of growing up with me in terms of inspiration of the music. But I just want people to know that, I just want to be like relatable to people. That's my biggest thing, because, like I said, I feel like we, no matter where we're from, no matter our upbringing or anything like that, we all have the same experiences. And I think to be able to relate with people and get people through tough life circumstances. Like I remember like so many times, like when I was in like high school and I would break up with my girlfriend, I would have my playlist on and I would have all these like heartbreak songs where, the artist was talking about breaking up with his girlfriend, and it just like gets you through that. And you're like, I'm not alone. And I think that's kind of, what I want to be for people as well is, just letting them know, like, I've been there, like, you're not the only one feeling this. And, just to give people a soundtrack to their life. Because there's so many songs that, if I hear that song, like it just brings me back to this like exact moment in my life. And that's kind of what I want to be for people. I want to, music transcends, your whole life. And, I want to be that artist for people where, every time they hear my song, they're reminded of, a good or a time in their life where they were struggling, but it's a core memory. So I think that's really what I want people to know about me, is that I'm human. I go through the same, experiences. And I think just to be able to relate with that is huge,
Yeah. No, totally. And, kind of touching on that relatability theme. So you're from Kingston, Massachusetts, which is a small rural town. Um, I actually went to school in Boston, so it's for undergrad. So it's the opposite of Boston.
Yeah, definitely.
um, so aside from relatability, what do you want people to know about your hometown when they listen to your lyrics?
Yeah, I think just authenticity almost. I think, in a lot of if you look at a lot of other genres like hip hop and stuff, it's so like surface level stuff. And just I really want to get like authentic and deep with people, and I want them to feel that authentic vibe from me, because I think just, where I'm from and the experiences I've had, I think I'm as authentic Enzo as I possibly can be. And I think I just want people to feel that with me, and just feel like real life experiences. Like I don't want to talk about surface level stuff. I want people to really, really connect on like life experiences and just feelings and like emotions. That's really what I try to get across with every song, and just
Mhm.
getting deep with people. I think
Mhm.
that's my biggest thing.
Yeah. And I think, you bring up an interesting point. I think that's why, people connect so much to country, because it's like what you just said. We all experience very similar circumstances or situations or just things that go on in our life that we have to just trudge through on and kind of become more resilient throughout that process and after that process.
Right. 100%.
Um, and so you talk about also too as well exploring new horizons in country music. So aside from kind of, you mentioned like kind of that hip hop, kind of adding kind of in that a little bit of that rock influence too as well. What other horizons do you really want to explore?
Yeah, I mean, I think especially being in Nash now, I'm exposed to like, classic country music and honky tonk and all that stuff. So I really want to delve more into those areas. I haven't really done a song that's classic country per se. Um, so I really want to like get in the studio. Like I'm working on it right now, getting like instrumentalists together and really creating something from scratch that's like real country, like down in the dirt, like hillbilly country. Like that's the vibe I really want to go for. And so yeah, I mean, I'm connecting with a lot of people right now to try to get something together for that kind of project. But I think that's definitely a new horizon that I want to explore. I think Morgan Wallen does a really good job at that. I think he has his really like pop, like mainstream country songs, but then he also has his honky tonk, like redneck, like Eastern Tennessee, like
Mhm.
country. So I definitely want to explore that more. And I think finally now being in Nash like helps me with that, because I get to, experience the experiences that are talked about in that kind of music, and just be kind of front and center and be able to speak on my own experience now being here and being able to, collaborate with people out here in Nashville. So I think that's definitely one of the avenues that I'm like most excited about.
So, so I guess like Cowboy Enzo, is it okay to call you that?
Cowboy Enzo, there you go. I like it.
Cowboy Enzo from Kingston, Mass.
Yep.
And the last question I did have for you. So, any new albums, EP, single shows, writers rounds that you want people to know about in the next few months?
Yeah, so I'm working on a new single right now. I'm probably gonna have it recorded in the next like few weeks, so that'll be out probably, I want to say, October. So I'm super excited about that. That one's gonna be a very cool song. The best way I can describe it is it's going to be a very acoustic country song, and I think it'll be a song that people want to play at their wedding. So that's what I'll say. It's gonna be really cool. I'm having a lot of fun. Writing this one. And yeah, I mean, I'm just constantly working on new singles. I'm trying to put out a single a month. I've done a pretty good job of that in the past like year. So yeah, I mean, I just came out with Every Single Bottle, so I think I'm going to follow it up with this next single. And yeah, I'm super excited about that. Doing demos for a lot of like big artists, so that's really fun. Doing that and just being able to kind of try to write in somebody else's point of view. So that's really fun. And yeah, in terms of shows, I'm probably going to be performing at Vinyl Lounge soon in Nashville. So stay tuned on my social medias for that. But yeah, I mean, just a lot of exciting stuff coming up here. So
awesome. And is there a pre-saved link for that new single yet?
Not yet, but there will be soon.
Awesome. And
yeah.
Enzo, where can people learn more about you or listen to your music?
Yeah, so I'm on I'm on all the streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff. Enzo Fiore, Fiore. And then my handles for social media, Instagram and TikTok, are just Enzo Fiore Music. EnzoFiore.com. You can check out some cool merch there for some of the new singles. Yeah, so that's where you can find me at.
Awesome. And don't forget to subscribe to Down in the Country's YouTube channel, as well as listening to this audio interview on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Thank you again so much for your time today, Enzo.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Such a fun time.
No, same here. This is Dylan Reed, your host.